akituambia tujaze kitu katika kopo la bakshishi, tafadhali usione ugumu. Weka hiyo senti uko nayo 50, 100, manake ndio tunapata fursa. Unakuja, Waswahili tunasema haba na haba ujaza kibaba. Kwa hivyo tukikuja hapa unasikia neno moja, unasikia lingine hapo, unasikia lingine kule. Tukienda mbele imekuwa ni neno ambayo imeweza kututengenezea msingi ya yale mwelekeo ambao tunafaa kuchukua. Asanteni sana.
Asante Bwana Fabish for that submission. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is Home Run PP, 37 minutes past 7 p.m. East African time. Stevenson, habari yako?
Poa sana MP Pipita.
Poa sana.
Poa sana. Siku mingi.
Ulipata pesa ukatutoroka.
Ulipata pesa ukatutoroka. Na nimerudi kushare.
Somesota.
Somesota. Nimerudi kushare. Keyword is to share. Sasa, first of all, let me start with the topic. In this country, actually, according to me, there's no leader. Hii country iko tu na parasites. Then, me always believe this country has been built on lies all the way back from independence. And I think it's high time each person puts aside emotions and whatever we've been taught from school and revert to our God-given brains. Number one, we need to understand where we are. And number two, accept where we are. Tuache kuishi kwa the ideal world yenye musiki kila time watu wakiongelelea hapa. Let's move away from that. Because ukisikia watu wakiongea hapa hivi stories za change, watu watasikia hatio unless we constitute the IEBC, manze wase. Watu mbona hawamki? Hii IEBC mwenye watu wanaongelelea wanataka kutoa ndio mwenye anapoint out watu wenye wanafaa kumtoa. Yeah. From there, once we understand where we are and we accept the situation that we are in, then we are able to kick off the conversation on how to make things better. I've heard in so many spaces, and I hear people celebrating victories kutoka 25th, and honestly, hakuna victory yote ya movement imekuwa nayo. Because kitu ya kwanza ilikuwa ni finance bill. Ndio finance bill ilinyongwa, but most people don't really understand the finance bill ni nini. Because Kenya government ilikuwa inataka, they still achieved it at the end of the day. People may mention sorry at 202. 202, pia nasikia watu shinda wakifurahi wanasema atio we defeated Moi. We didn't defeat Moi. This has been a script that was there from way go, from, let me say, the so-called independence. And nasi shinda tukisahau kitu Moi alitupatia Mwakenya akatuambia can we rule for 50 plus years. But si wana amnesia susahawi kitu. Na if you want to understand story ya 202 na story ya penye tuko vizuri, just take your time. Anybody, just take your time. Go to Google, go to anywhere. Uliza wasi wamekuwa hapo hivyo. Just get to understand the journey of Uhuru in politics. Then you'll understand that Kibaki was just a caretaker president, that hiyo story ya 202 Moi kusema Uhuru tosha was not at Uhuru to be president. It was just to position him, and that's why he was he was the leader of opposition, to position him to take over when Nanis alikuwa ananini tamu yake ikiisha. But people don't get this. People are still in that bubble that Baba anatupigania, Baba lost the election, Baba sijui nini. But people forget very minor things zenye mi sijui kwa nini watu sahau. Mpaka election fulani hapa Baba akituambia tutakuwa na IBC yetu, wakitupa tunatupa. Ikifika that point, mpaka wasawa kachangi, ikifika that point, hakuna hiyo data. Hiyo nini, hiyo polling center iko. Hizi ni vitu wasawa nafaa kuona, waone ati hii script imekuwa pale. This guy is supposed to be there to make people think that everything is normal, but wanajua venye wanakula. There's this seed that was planted in our heads that in politics there's no permanent enemy. It's a seed that was planted very well. And ndio maana unaona leo Watu watapigana, kesho they are friends. Watu wanashindwa kusema sahi ati Uhuru wonders about Ruto. Uhuru mwenye alipigana na Raila last election walikuwa pamoja. Ule Raila mwenye alikuwa na Uhuru, mwenye Uhuru alituona tusichague Ruto, sasa yuko kwa gava moja na nani? Na Ruto. But we still don't see that. We still want to, we're still trying to create the ideal world of how things are supposed to be. Wake up, guys. Moi ensure that he tame the middle class properly. Change comes from the middle class. But what happens when life becomes difficult for the middle class? We always look for a side hustle and life continues. Our leaders thrive on divide and rule. And that's how the revolution was tamed. Ile time 25th venye waswaliona, it was something that people didn't expect. Watu wakona, hey, these people are becoming so powerful. Nini katokea kwanza? Name them kwanza as nini? Gen Zs. Already on divide and rule. So the other generations waanze ku question. Plant the guns there. Business people are like, hapana. People keep saying that mandamano is a root thing. I keep telling people, mandamano does not affect the government. Mandamano happen tao. People believe that the government collects taxes from tao. Government does not survive on taxes from tao. Take it to the bank. 60-80% of businesses in town don't even pay tax. So when you cripple businesses in Tao, you're not crippling the government, you're crippling the middle class. Higher. Change, according to me, change will come from the grassroots. Until the day we decide to elect the right MCAs, the right MPs, the right senators, we shall compose millions of songs until kingdom comes. Tutashinda watu wakienda kwa debe, watu wakirudi kwa spaces, hawa watu wametuuza.
Yo, Janja tunajua Stevenson, rudi kwa mic wewe. Come back to the mic. Come back to the mic. Umerudi. Umerudi.
Unanipata sasa?
Yes.
Ukicheki, the first thing that this guy did when he took power, he went and summoned all the independent MPs. Na watu wakaingizwa box. And then right now, people are complaining about parliament. Parliament is no longer independent. Parliament is doing the biddings of one person. And this one person, until we understand why he does the things that he does, people will continue making noise again until what? Until kingdom comes. Because this thing is bigger than even this guy. This guy, the agenda, according to me, is to create chaos. And that is one thing that he's doing perfectly. Because the minute watu wamekasirika, watu wanaanza kuvurugana, watu wanaenda tao, watu wananyoroshwa. What happens? Chaos, people are killed. Nini na happen after that? We are talking about international community. There's no international community. We are on our own because our issues start with the international community. Until guys go back to the basics to understand why the company, the East African British company came to Africa, why they colonized Africa, and why they left. Then we shall understand the fight that we are fighting. We're not fighting Ruto. It's a fight that is bigger than this guy. Na watu elewi. Ukiongea watu watakamwa kwambia, hizo ni conspiracy, there's nothing like that. But these are facts, manzi. And the reason why I'm saying that this country is based and this country was built on on lies, it goes back to our history. The people are saying that go back to the history. Look at the history. We are told in history, Mau Mau walipigania uhuru, walishinda wazungu. Crap, manzi. Wasi wako na mishale na mikuki, utashindaje watu wako na gun? These things were negotiated, and that's why you see the white people, they settled in those prime places. Na hizo places ukichunguza fiti, get hizo places ndio minerals zao wamekuwa kiharvest from that time na zinapelekwanga kwao, and there's no taxes that are collected, but people don't see that. Watu bado watarudi waanze kunyang'ana hapa hivi kupigana vitu zingine zenye hata exist. Hii wiki watu wamekuwa wakiongelelea the DP being impeached. We forget that at the beginning of this week, the end of last week, watu walikuwa transferred to the new system. Sasa the conversation has moved from there. People are concentrated on one person. People forget, well, all these other issues, the main issues, people don't ask themselves when the main issues were happening, mbona kukuwa na hizi public participation? Why is it that tu mtu mmoja sasa saa zile imekam, saa zile wamegongana juu sasa story ya kudishi na story za nini, sasa mpaka public participation ziko. We don't ask those questions. The agenda started kitambo sana, and the main thing is food, education, and health. Food started way back in 2000, tukiletewa GMO. GMO imekuja imekula shamba za wasee. Mimi wacha kwetu saa hii, we can't plant maize without fertilizer. And I keep telling guys this, and guys don't understand it. We can't plant maize without fertilizer. Lazima fertilizer ikue. So what happens when the government sells you fake fertilizer? It means the food production is affected. It means people are going to be hungry. Then the next step is what? Education. Education ndio watu wanaanza kunyongwa. Sasa university ndio hizo mafunding nini. The third one is health. Health ndio pia sahi. In the next 5 years, believe you me guys, if you're not financially stable, forget about it in this country. You will not get food, you will not get education, you will not get health. But bado sisi, tunakuwa diverted na vitu zingine zenye haziko while the main issues happen. Next week guys, you'll wake up, mutapata shift imepasiwa, Adani deal ilishapasiwa, hizo vitu zote ziko kwa system. And once zimeingia kwa system, forget about it. You go make noise, you go do nini. We talk about movement at removing Ruto. You cannot remove a sitting president without the military, without the security forces. That's a fact. And it's everywhere in the world. Any revolution that has succeeded in the world succeeded because the military was not in line with the system. What happened to the leaders of our military? What happens when immediately a president takes over? You make sure that the people in the security system are the people who sing his songs. So manze wase, mi tunaweza ambia watu, ndio, pia mi naumia na gava, but what we can do as young people, as people who are looking forward, let's empower ourselves financially. Let's have money to be able to call shots. When you call shots, unaweza sema, okay, sir, you'll detect things. But
lakini nikuulize Fabish. Steve. Mute nikuulize swali. As you're telling us to consolidate financially, we can all agree right now that the political class is the one that is making a lot of money. Is the one that is controlling all the money. Right? Hata tukisema aje, when people are rallying behind Morara Kebaso, they were curtailed at some point. So when you say people should collect money, and you know, these are the same people who decide pesa in a value gani. Back to you.
That's why I said, PP, the first step, we make sure that we elect the right MCAs, the right MPs, the right senators. Number 2, you know the reason why I like listening to your space, because I admire what you do. Ulika, instead of complaining, you started something, you started a station, which has been functional 1 year and it's going on. But wase wengi, 90% of the people out here, people will just be complaining, oh, niko na degree, niko jobless. That's why I've said, let's for 1 minute go back to our God-given brains. Let's delete everything that we've been taught and think of how we can change our lives, on how we can change things. But hii shida kila time ati tunashinda tuna complain, alafu unasikia sawa nasema ati ocha mashinani, watu wako nyuma, ati watu wana ma smartphone. Manze watu si watembee tu haki. Watu watembee tu waone hizi vitu. Hata kwa ground, watu watembee tu kwa ground, waongee na wasee, watasikia the real thing, what is actually happening. Civic education ndio itafanyika, but is civic education, are we giving out the correct information, ama we're giving out the information yenye we've been programmed to give? Because the civic education that's going on, it's what we've been programmed to give. We're not giving out the correct thing, and that's why year in, year out, tutarudi tu, itakuwa tu ni kirat race. Tunarudi tu kwa the same issues until hiyo civic education equal the correct information that's being given. Do you guys even know sahi Kenya already tushakuwa zero din na our dearest Bill Gates tunaletewa maziwa zenye zinaproduciwa kwa lab Do people know that? Hizo ni vitu zina happen. Do you guys know sahi tunaletewa mosquito za GMO ati za kukuja kufight malaria, but in essence zinafaa kuwa zina dunga wase mashindano. Do people know that? Ama watu wanapiganga tu kelele ukiongea kwa sababu haijasomwa kwa mainstream media, kwa sababu minister leader, the so-called leader jamka kusoma, unaambiwa oyo ni propaganda, hiyo sijui ni nini, until it affects people. I remember COVID ikitokea, mimi nikaambia wasee, hii COVID hizi ni vitu za the globalist wanataka kureduce population. Waswali ni banja wakisema juu Kenya unasema nini, mpaka nika make reference. Mwenye Pfizer mwenyewe ameblokiwa kuingia Israel kwa sababu ana vaccine. Hebu nikuulize kitu inaua wasee. Wewe mwenyewe umeproduce hiyo vaccine, utakosaje kujidunga if it's legit? Look at the way guys are dropping dead. Mtu anakufa na hata matokeo ajui nini ilitokea, utambua lungs zake ama organs zimekuwa enlarged, sijui nini. Hizo ni effects za hizi stuff. But wasi hawataki kukubali. Bado watu zote utasikia utakwambia tio, hizo ni conspiracy, hakuna vitu kama hizo. Manzi wasawa amke. This thing is so big, and I keep telling people, the minute you are dissatisfied with the government and you're going to the street to cause chaos, you are playing into the cards of the government, because they want to cause chaos, they want to take you there. And nilisema hapa kwa space PP 25th, watu venye walingia parliament, the first thing the president did was kusema nini, these are criminals. The minute you say these are criminals, you've justified the security forces to get rid of these criminals. But watu waoni hizi stuff. Mi sijui ni nini watu wataambiwa ndio watu waamke, watu waone enyewe kenye na happen country sahi, it's bigger than what we are seeing. Na hakuna story kama ati sahi ati watu wanasema ati Uhuru alituon. Nani Kibaki did his part, Uhuru did his part, sahi ni part ya Ruto. And believe you me, the next person mwenye ata take over pia atafanya part yake. Hii wiki watu wanasema tio nani ameenda, DP ameenda sasa, ati now we are a step closer to removing the president. Now we're even a step further, because now sasa in case, which I don't think is going to go through, but in case hiyo nini impeachment iende through, the president will be even more powerful now, yenye hakuna mtu mwenye ataweza kunini. Na before you know it, next week utasikia parliament term imeextendiwa, president imeextendiwa, tutabaki tu hapo, tuendelee tukipiga kelele, tuendelee tukilia kwa hizi spaces. Guys, let's divorce from emotions. Let's get reasoning straight, turudi kwa logic. Let's go back to our God-given brains na to think, tuachane na vitu zenye tunaambiwa tunakuwa brainwashed. Thanks.
All right. Asante Stevenson for that submission. I want to go to the real Joe, lakini naona Fabish ameinua mkono juu. Fabish, unataka kufanya nini? Kurebuttal. Najua mimi Stevenson natuelewanangi naye, lakini sasa inaitwa freedom of speech.
Yeah, freedom of speech, lakini ningeomba tu kurebuttal kidogo, because you know, even when you are speaking, I think kama tungekuwa ni assembly kabisa, ungekuwa out of order kuita watu kwa ati watumie brain that God give. I think everyone is using brain. Alafu ile kitu struggle sana kumwelewa, and that is why sio tu kwamba I'm rebutting, but I was struggling to understand him. Kwanza amesema we are complaining too much, atutafuti pesa, and from where I am, najua kwamba wa Kenya ni watu wa kujituma sana, and I don't think that there maybe very few people, but many Kenyans, they struggle a lot kutafuta pesa. No one expect government to give the money for free. Then ameenda pia kajicontradict, kusema kwamba kuna vitu ambao policy ambao serikali inaweka. So hata kama uko na pesa na there is a bad governance, that your money cannot help you when they don't put a good medical facilities, when you have money and you cannot get a good treatment, when they cannot control what we consume, because of corruption, kwamba zile vyakula ambao inaletwa it is substandard or hata some are poisonous, then hata kama uko na pesa itakusaidia nini when we don't have better schools, mtoto wako atasoma namna gani? So I think that is we stop being objective. So and pia kusema kwamba watu 25th kwamba watu wakienda kwa the street ni causing mayhem. It is not causing mayhem. That is a constitutional right. Na wale watu walitengeneza constitution walikuwa anajua kwa nini walisema kwamba there is a right to protest, there is a right to picket. Kwa hivyo sio kwamba ati when people protest, what do you expect Ruto to say? When you know that he did wrong, alafu Wakenya wamekuja kucall him out. You think kwamba angekuja asema na tupigie makofi? You don't want to be seen to be in the wrong side. And that is the attitude that we have with our leaders. Whenever they are wrong, they don't want to be to subject themselves, So kusema kwamba ati people sijui aende wapi waache kucomplain waache kukuja. How can we not complain when we are not governing in the wrong way? Na elewa kwamba constitution yetu imetupatia kabisa nguvu kwamba sisi ndio tuko na wajibu wa kujiongoza wenyewe, na saa zingine tunatumia wala ambao tumewachagua viongozi wetu, lakini mahali wamefail sisi wenyewe tunakuja kukava. It's like when you have a business, you employ someone. If that your employee fails, you step up na unakuja unakava kazi yako. So Kenya is ours, and the leaders that you elect, they are our employees, and whenever they fail, we step up and do the work because it is our business, it is our country.
Asante sana Fabish for that. I don't want to make it a podcast, Stevenson. So I'm going to give you a 2-minute rebuttal up until 8 p.m. When I come back, the real Joy is going to be talking to us. Request the microphone. We have 1 more hour.
Just to clarify, sijasema ati hizo vitu Fabish anasema amenipick out of context. Nimesema number 1, we should elect the right people. I've not said not complain. I've said we'll continue complaining. There's a big difference. The other thing I'm saying, e-government, please get me right, Fabish, their agenda is to cause chaos. And that's why they're doing things kunyonga wase ndio watu waende kwa street. Na watu wakienda kwa street ndio Kenya wanataka. I said it about 2 months ago that the dawa ya kuninia wase saa zile wanafanya vitu zenye hatutaki ni to starve them of the attention that they get. We give them attention. Politicians fatten from attention. Wanapenda attention sana. Prezo akienda church akose watu inamdunga. Akiingia place akose watu inamdunga. Hizo ndio dawa yenye tutajibu nao politician. But tukishinda tunafanya hizi maandamano inatumiza sisi wenyewe. Mimi ni mswabizi. Saa zile maandamano inafanya, nobody pays my salary. Maandamano ikifanyika, mimi mwenyewe sina income, you please. And there are so many people. That's why you get that not everybody is going to go for it. When you wanna survive on day to day, wata move away from it because wanajua saa zile kitu kama hiyo ina happen ina affect. But in the technological world yenye tunaishi saa hii, venye hata PP alikuwa amesema earlier, tukitumia mafoni zetu venye watu walikuwa nasalimiwa, hizo ndo zilifanya the movement ilikuwa very powerful the first days. Ile time Anonymous akisema atathreaten ata-unleash ma stories za wase waliogopa sana. Ndio musemanga mimi ningekuwa msee wa IT, ningekuwa nimehack watu, ningekuwa release information, vitu zingekuwa zimechange. Lakini madhangu alinifundisha kitu. Ukifanya kitu you cannot.
Ni kama hata simu yako imejua saa. Yeah. Imekukata. Madhako alikwambia nini bro?
Aliniambia you can't do the same thing expecting different results. Ukifanya kitu mara 2 mara 3 na high work, do something else. Try kitu different. Na nikisema ati wase tujiempower, tukijiempower tutakuwa tunabita wase. Cause tutakuwa wakitoa nini wakikila. Angalia education, we used to have the best public schools. Zilinyoroshwa, squeezy private school. Hospitali, when I was a kid, the hospitali za Kanzo zilikuwa very good. Saizi imenyoroshwa, watu wanaenda public. When we have money, tutakuwa tunaonyesha wase, unatunyorosha hizi nini? Tunaweza G-empower, tunaweza inua kitu fulani. Leo kuna mtu mwenye hana nini amenyoroshwa hizi enda chuo, tunaweza shikana kwa space people semenyaje leo tunachangia mtoi fulani anaenda chuo. Tutakila wase, tutamove away from hii narrative wanataka kudrive that hizi vitu zinafaa kuwa ni for the chosen few. Na the minute wameka hivyo, ndio maana kutakuwa na goons, cause watu wakishanyongwa kama una tu, utakuwa easy prey kulipwa kufanya hizi magoons na hizi vitu zote. Thanks. I hope sana nimekuwa clear.
Yeah, uko clear kwamba mute. Uko clear kwamba mute. Hii dunia yako inaishi kwa dunia yako, kwa kichwa yako peke yako. Wewe na yule wakili fulani ni msao jina. You have a very idealistic world. Haki ya nani? Shika hii. Sasa, you know, for example, mtu kama kuchangia podcast kama yangu is something ya hiari. Unaona? Ukinichangia leo ama usiponichangia, nikiona kama si raise enough money, nitaamka nifunge virago zangu, nirudi ushago, niendelee na maisha. Unaona? Na pia hivyo, unaona? Ama nianze nikuwe msanii. Kuna usanii wa aina nyingi, naweza kuwa rapper ama actor. Lakini kusema kwamba eti tutashinda watu wenye wanatutengenezea policies kwa kuchangia watoto, kwa kuchangia watu wenye wako na kidney failure. We have 12,000 Kenyans wenye wako na kidney failure. Let me give you some quick mathematics. Per week, an average kidney dialysis is 9,500 shillings. You need 2. That is 18,000. I'm going to use the ones, that is 19,000. So tuchangie kila Mkenya, kila wiki. Tuseme, tunataka kushinda watu power. Kumbuka wanakata pesa yako ya mshahara. So let us just calculate times just the 12,000 that who if you do not dialyze them this week, they are dying. Alafu najua unakufa with your own blood. So multiply that by 12,000. So, nataka uniambie wapi kuna Wakenya wenye wata raise 228 million every week. Hata kama diaspora basi wako na pesa sana. 228 million every week so that we do not lose dialysis patients. Hapa tujongelea watu wa diabetes. Hatujongelea ARVs. We need a working health system. We are not on an ego trip with our leaders. It is not a favor. Mbona wao walijiwekea 150k kwa nani yao ya health? It is not a favor. I want us to start educating ourselves. And the reason why we have a space here that we come on every day is to educate people. I believe kama interact na home run with people, you have changed your mind. You have changed your mentality at some point. Umefikiria keep different. And that is what we are about. I want us to change each other's thinking, mentalities. Ya kwamba, when we demand for our leaders to give us good education, it is not a favor. Na si eti tunawachukia. It is something that is written in the Constitution. It is a basic right. When we say we want health, it's a basic right. But you are putting yourself on a 300,000 outpatient budget while you are telling me and my 4 kids can share 2,000 for dental. So yeah. Hiyo mchezo hiyo mnaniambia hapa eti sijui we need to shindana financial. You can never beat a government financially. Even the poorest government in the world is more powerful than you. So the best way is to have a system that actually works for the people, not against. Right now they are working against the people. And we are here trying to create excuses for them. I will open my spaces every day for people to keep on talking because I believe part of change is also making people voices heard. The Real Joe, habari yako. Chancheze jingle kwanza mzee. Tulipe madeni. Mafuliza.
Social conversations engaging topics on your phone anywhere. This is Home Run with Pippy.
We are on the final hour of Home Run with People, ladies and gentlemen. It happens here each and every weekday from 4 p.m. all the way to 9 p.m. My name is MC Pipita. Tomorrow we'll be back again here for Wellness Thursdays. And of course, tomorrow we'll be trying to get to hear real stories. Kesho nataka kusikia kutoka kwa watu wenye wanalipa shift, wale wenye wametumia services za shift. Umenielewa? Kesho tutakuwa tunaingia kwenye real life. Heri tukae bila story. Yeah. And we'll also be talking to you guys on your thoughts on whether shift is good for you. But today we are here talking about Mambo's leadership. Home Run Pipi is supported by you, the listener. If you like what I'm doing, as usual, navyosemanga ni kwamba pale hivi juu kuna namba ya kusupport show 0721948229 is the number. Baba, the real Joe, habari.
Thank you, Peter. First of all, just pardon my background. I'm at the airport. I'm traveling back to Nairobi, so might be noisy kidogo. But unfortunately, I'm not going to speak as much as I wanted to speak. Stevenson needs some enlightenment. He needs to be enlightened on a few things. But let me just quickly touch on the topic. Who is your leader? Right now, currently, Pipita, they have successfully divided people in the movement. We are branding each other traitors, sellouts, and things like that. And that is what was actually the initial agenda that these people had. So I have problems with the current breed of people who have said want to lead the movement here, Gen Z. One of them being Morara. I have a problem with communication in Morara. He cannot be my leader. Actually, he cannot be my leader because I don't subscribe to the ideology of an eject party. Eject party is like a populist idea. I mean, I would never be a member of a party called Eject. I would never do that. Now, logo ya sindano. How can I join a party like that? We need to have ideas. We cannot change a country with the idea ya wheelbarrow yenye mtu alikuja nayo na wheelbarrow na imemshinda kuchange nayo ndio sisi tunakuja na sasa yetu ya shindano. That doesn't make sense. We need to have people who are objective. People who are very, very objective and categorical about leadership. Peter, allow me to drop. I'm not going to say much. I wanted to speak so well, but I'm going to have to drop because I'm traveling back to Nairobi. So maybe I will see you
flights, the real Joe. All right, safe flights. Hey, watu wengi huku mnashika flights, guy. Okay. Sawa basi, wacha nipigie Maina wa Ndudhi anipeleke hapa mbele Mayan Mall nitafute hata chips. Thank you so much for that submission. Nixon, how are you doing?
Yeah, thank you, Pipita, for the opportunity. Niko poa. Just nitakuwa na a few things nitaweza kuchangia kidogo about who is your leader. Hiyo ndo nafikiri ndio topic ya leo. So I think for far too long tumekuwa hatuna leaders actually in Kenya. Hatuna leaders kabisa because if somebody like Ruto tukiangalia from the way he's coming, everybody knows amekuwa cropped up with Moi. And you know Moi now leadership yake hiyo 24 years and how things went. And history ndio hiyo imeenda. 2010 the same Ruto was against the new constitution. But chances zika play on ndio huyo ameingia. Is now our president. Sasa from such kind of a trend, hakuna vile tunaweza expect ati kutakuwa na anything good inaweza endesha hii country towards prosperity. One thing I'm noticing is bado tuko na kazi mingi sana. As we are coming up with these forums tunasaidiana kubadilishana mawazo. It's a very good forum actually because huko nyuma tujakuwa na forums kama hizi zenye watu wanaongea freely, watu wana exchange ideas. At least now we are coming now to realization of how we need this country to run. It's very sad to see how the current leadership inataka kuendesha vitu ile style ya Moi. Wacha hata hiyo yenye ilikuwa ya kina Kibaki na Uhuru Kenyatta, although pia Uhuru Kenyatta alio exhibit the same thing, lakini sasa hii ya Ruto at this age, this is very shameful. Hata in fact inafanya tuna feel ni kama hatuna country, inaleta aibu sana. Hii place kama hii penye mimi niko size is actually I'm in South Korea, and some of these things we watch and even other people watch with us. There are people from other countries are keenly watching what is happening in Kenya. For example, our neighbors, we have a lot of our friends who are also watching the same things. Picha ya Kenya sometimes huwa inakuja na aibu sana. At times unasikia aibu sana, unataka kutembea huko nje, mtu akuassociate ati wewe unatoka Kenya. Unasikia uko down sana. So this one calls upon us actually to stand our ground and tuweze kusema imetosha hiyo style ya kitambo. So moving forward, I think we have to sit down and start strategizing. Tunataka leadership aina gani yenye inaweza kuwa different from what has been presented to us with the current leadership. What leadership do we want? Ni sisi wenyewe tutafute vile tunaweza kustrategize. Hiyo ni kitu ya kwanza. Kitu ya pili, ile business, the way the country runs, the way this country is running, we will need actually to change a lot. There's a lot that needs to be changed. Right now, tunashukuru, at least even mitandao may extend even up to the villages. Hatuwezi assume that hizi vitu is going on in vain. I'm very sure kuna watu wametegesha hata from other areas deep inside the country, and they're watching. People are watching these things. They're seeing it on their mobile phones, and they're following. So at least in terms of trying to educate people, for now, we should be grateful tuko na avenue mzuri ya kuweza kufundishana, so that going forward tuanze kuwa na another different way of electing leaders. We should borrow a leaf from our country, from our neighboring country. Tanzania, these people sometimes, ukiangalia vile wao wanapanga politics zao na the way the leadership there is running that country. That's the near country that we should actually emulate. I look at a lot of things Tanzania is doing right now. Right now ukiangalia, right now ukiland even at their airport, ukifika tu pale angalia vile wametengeneza hiyo airport yao. Ukiangalia kwetu tunaona inaleta show ingine tofauti sana. Look at the SGR they have. Look at the costing, hiyo plan yao vile imetengenezwa. Even hata saizi ukiangalia progress vile wamefanya, hiyo kitu inaonyesha Tanzania wako miguu mingi sana mbele ya Kenya. How can they spend less money kutengeneza rail yao ambayo saizi imekuwa long enough, saizi imeanza kufunction na ni ya moto, and they have very nice trains zenye wameimport from here Korea. Na ukiangalia terms zenye wametumia very nice terms. Kenya kuna shida gani hatuwezi change how we do things? If you can't change how we do things, it's very difficult. Countries kama hizi Asian tigers, they had to sit down and decide from the leadership per se. Here in Korea, utashangaa sana. President hapa huwa ana serve 5 years. Wana elect mtu mwingine mpya. And imekuwa hivyo all along. Na nchi yenyewe imedevelop. Na sometimes watu wakiangalia vile wana run politics zao, hata huwezi kujua kuna politics zina run. Hakuna mtu anashughulika na hizo, ati sijui nani atakuwa president, watu wanashindana hapa, sijui unatoka tribe gani, hizo vitu hakuna huko. Ile kitu yenye iko pertinent ni is this thing that I'm bringing to my people something yenye inaweza kuleta prosperity for every one of us to enjoy. Hata wewe mtu pengine amekaa kule Mandera, unaweza kaa huko Mandera na una enjoy huko Kenya. Sio ati ukae huko Mandera ukisema mimi niko Mandera, wengine wako Kenya. Unajua kuna places zingine Kenya hii watu wanasema Kenya iko huko chini huko kwingine si Kenya, because ukiangalia the way these people have been cut off, nobody even is thinking about them. Hakuna siku ile hata mtu ataweza kufikiria there's a road all the way from Isiolo that can be tarmacked to Mandera and we open that area, or we tarmac from maybe Garissa all the way to that eastern, inaitwaje, northeastern province imenyamaziwa hivyo, and it's part of Kenya. Na si ati vile imekaa hivyo kwa sababu is dry, it means that your place iko unproductive, ama your place that sasa ni useless place, we cannot think about it. Yeah, tumekuwa na plans, tumetengeneza plans kama LAPSSET, tukasema by hiyo is part of the 2030 vision 2030. Sasa hii vision 2030 imebakisha miaka mingapi? 6 years. 6 years, nothing's been discussed about that project. That means kuanzia sasa mpaka 2030 we cannot realize that dream. Na hiyo ndio dream ingekuwa imepangika vizuri. Then saizi unaona vijana wanamaliza shule, wanakimbia huko nje, hawana jobs. Hizo ndio places jobs zinapatikana. Unasikia mtu anasema sasa Minister of Agriculture tumetengeneza tumefanya subsidized fertilizer 2500. Well, watu wamepanda mahindi. Saizi sasa mashamba ya Kenya watu wanavuna mahindi right now. Sasa hiyo serikali imewafikiria vipi on how to buy those crops from the farmers so that the farmers may get a return out of what they've done in their lands. There's nothing on the ground. Sasa tunaangalia wapi? Some of these things itabidi tukae chini tutengeneze plans on how to do them. Hatuwezi kaa tukifikiria there's somebody else who will do it for us. For example, we want to do serious projects, lazima the Chinese to come and do projects. Unapata deal, sasa hiyo ndio inakuwa the best way of making somebody rich in Kenya. No, itafika mahali tuanze kufanya hizi projects sisi wenyewe, na ni sisi wenyewe tutafute formula, watoke waende, tubaki sisi wenyewe tunaweza kumanage. That's how these tiger economy, Asian tigers walifanya. Walitokea from somewhere, wakakopi, wakaperfect mpaka ikabidi imekuwa sasa ni wao ndio wanafanya. That's why sisi tumekaa huko tuna contract watufanyie, na tutafuti njia ya kuweza kujifundisha kufanya sisi wenyewe. We should learn how to do these things ourselves. Tufungue nchi yetu sisi wenyewe, to manage system zote kuanzia chini mpaka juu. So what am I saying? I think leadership yenye imekuwa kuanzia kitambo, hiyo kitu lazima itoke. Itabidi wakati tunakaa hivi chini tuanze kutafuta hata kama ni proposals za kukaa chini na kutengeneza njia yetu sisi wenyewe kama wa Kenya. What kind of ways we should run this country? How can we audit ourselves? How can we make sure tuko na value for money for some projects that are going on, so that our neighbors, kama vile nimesema Tanzania, wasije wakatupita wakatuacha. By the way, hiyo ya Tanzania nimeiona from afar. If these guys are able to reach that line into Burundi and Rwanda and Congo, then Kenya tusahau hiyo route yenye tuko nayo inaitwa Northern Corridor. Tusahau kabisa, watakuwa wametushinda. There's no way tutaweza kushindana nao in terms of kuweza take a lead in having avenues for the other countries to use our avenue and make us get something out of that corridor. Yeah, issues kama pipeline, these are things that we should think of expanding. Yeah, Uganda saizi wanatengeneza ka pipeline tena katapitia Tanzania. Kenya tuko wapi? Tunapita na opportunities. So mimi nafikiri ni high time tuanze kufikiria the way watu wanasema sasa we want to do away with Ruto. Is to do away with Ruto. Are we doing away with Ruto without having a plan on how we are going to run it ourselves in a different way? We have a long way to go. We need to start thinking. Huyu Ruto tukisucceed, by the way, maybe kumwambia sasa wewe umefika hapa umetutengenezea, lakini sorry, nje tunataka tutengeze hivi. Tutaweza kufika kwa hiyo stage na tuichukue vizuri, ama itabidi Ruto ametoka na tupate tena another tyrant akuja achukue hiyo position na tupeleke another stupid direction? So those are questions zenye inabidi tuanze kujiuliza. Otherwise, thank you for this platform. I think maybe nita rest my case at that point.
Asante sana Nixon for that submission. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Home Run with PP. As I was about to bring in Dejo meanguka, wacha nimweke kiboko huyu. Wacha mchezo hapa hivi aongei. Shout out to you Little Finger, can see Joshua anakuona pale hivi Willy. Nani mwingine anamuona pale ndani Moses Stanley Kenyan Batuta. Thank you so much for tuning in kwenye Home Run PP. Of course, kwa wale wenye wanaingia pale hivi kwenye tipja, naona hizo 100 mnarusha pale ndani. Asanteni sana kwa hiyo support. Na kama unapenda kazi yenye unafanya pale hivi juu kuna tipja line 0721948229. Namwona Maggie, how are you doing, Maggie?
I'm well. How are you? Thank you, Papita.
Welcome.
Thank you. I've just been listening for a while, and I just have just a few things to say about the topic. Who is your leader? I think I agree with the gentleman who was speaking earlier about that. If the leadership that you want next, to be honest, it can't come from the leadership that we've had in the last decades. I feel what we've had in the past is what has brought us these situations now, and I feel like the apple is rotten from the top and from Ruto. So like everybody who follows Ruto has to go for us to have a better life and for us to have a better future, I think, for Kenya. In the sense, I'd speak about the Kina Morara and stuff. I like the movements Kina Morara are doing, but I feel like people, instead of people like sort of trying to nitpick little things to try and put Morara down or put his philosophy down, I feel it's good for us, all of us, to sort of what's it called? We have to self-assess ourselves. Like, what do you have? What can you bring? If you feel that anger, if you feel that drive that you need, you can bring something. I think the likes of Morara, for me, are showing us that it's possible. If you want to start a party, if you want to be of leadership, all that is possible, and it can happen. But also, I've realized I've been in the UK for 24 years now. I came when I was 12. Kenya is my home regardless. But looking from the outside, looking in, I see there's a lot of problems in the sense of our systems. Like, there's a lot of broken systems. And you look at even what was happening to like the likes of Morara, Bob Njagi, like the abductions, things like that. That should not be happening, to be honest. Like, in a democracy, in like 21st century, things like that should not be happening. I mean, like, politics is not like a fair game. Like, if you look at everywhere, even here in the UK, there is concerns with politics, but it's never in the sense like it undermines human rights. So I feel like in Kenya, there's a lot of undermining. Like, there's a lot of sort of these people of power who sort of undermine the human rights aspect of the citizen of Kenya. And I feel until that, like those systems, until they're sort of audited, until they're looked at, until they're sort of a total revamp of all this system is done, then all this is going to happen. Even with the next leader and the next leader, all these issues are going to start. They're still going to happen, because we need to we need to we need to sort the problem, and then look at the people around the problem, and then see, okay, we already know the people around the problem, to be honest. This generation of leaders that we've had in Kenya, they are not people, to be honest. Like, they haven't, none of them, to be honest. Only I can say from my sort of how I know of history. And I can only say somebody like Kibaki, at least he had a vision for the people. But whereas these other leaders who have come after, and maybe even before, they were all about looking after themselves and and not really for the people. So I feel like until all these systems are looked at, they're revamped, like the police, the judiciary system, all these systems are done, are looked at. And sorry about that, I got my daughter, 1 second.
All right, just what I was seeing somebody was trying to join. You can request the mic, ladies and gentlemen. Still have like half an hour before we call it a night. Hey, bachelor time. Diki amenitoroka. You see, people with families. Hata mimi mniombe nisipate familia. Unaona, people with families have to leave their shows before they end. Aya.
I'm back. Sorry
okay,
about
talk
that,
to us,
Latifa.
Maggie.
Yeah, so yeah, I was just saying, for me, the leader of the future, I am for like the Moraras and everything, but I think we all need to see the Morara in ourselves. I think all of us have something that you want to bring. I think all of us here who are interested in listening to spaces like this, you're here because you have a yearning of wanting to better the country, our country, Kenya. So I feel whatever field that you're in and you feel like you can do something, if it's an MCA or whatever, or if you want to stand for health, if you want to stand for police, I feel everybody should stand up for what they believe in and stop sort of putting all our eggs in a basket on one leader to lead this. I know it's good to have that leader too, but I feel like there's so many people are so compromised, and that goes back to my point about the system and sort of cutting the breaking the chain from the top. Like, we have to get rid of all those systems that have taken us nowhere and get rid of all that corruption and sort of start afresh, and then have these leaders of accountability coming out. And I'm sure they'll come out when the systems are right for them to come out. So I don't want to go on too far, but I just feel like we need to stop sort of putting so much trust on one person or saying this, because we don't know, and people do change and people do get compromised. But I feel it's better first for us to work on the systems and make sure the systems are right, and then get rid of this system that we know is there and is not doing anything for us, and then we can start seeing the leaders come up themselves. And honestly, with integrity, somebody's integrity, and they have the right intention for the country and the nation and the people in it, we will definitely see it and we'll support it. So thank you for the time, Peter, and everyone. Good evening.
All right. Thank you so much, Maggie, for also sharing into your thoughts of this. And of course, as you've said, Kenya is also home for all, hata wale nyoko in the diaspora. And that is why Home Run with PP is always giving them a chance to also share their thoughts of what they feel about what is going in the country. Because can you believe, guys, billions of shillings, billions of shillings come from the diaspora into the Kenyan economy every year. Every year. I'm going to give you the numbers shortly, but I believe the diaspora remittances keep us. I'm going to be honest, Home Run with PP ikipoteza diaspora listeners ni hivyo bana. Ukweli, kwa sababu sisi wenyewe tunategemea pia how. And you know why? Because that is the connection yenye tunajaribu kukua nayo pia. So yes, let us also learn to also embrace each other. Wanaweza kuwa hawako kwa ground, but they have really, and I know it's not myself, hata Morara, Kebaso, I know the others also who have been space hosts, they can tell you, it's just a fact. Na pia hata familia nyingi, mtoto wenu akienda jeshi ama aende abroad, inafiliwa, it's felt. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. And now, seeing the one and only Dejo is here with us. We have about 31 minutes to the top of the hour. Dejo, hi.
Hello, Pipita.
Jumbo.
And the rest of the crew. Jambo ndugu. Yes, now, naona mada umeweka up a very pertinent question. Who is your leader? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Now, when I went to study some years back when I was at Makerere, we were taught that a leader is somebody who positively influences a society or a community towards achievement of positive outcomes. So first and foremost, my leader is my conscience, because it's my conscience that leads me to identify who I follow, be it spiritual, be it economic, be it political, be it social. Now, talking about leadership. Leadership in Kenya is lacking. What we have is politicians. Everybody can concur, I think. So moving forward, when we look at the current events, Kenyans are trying to identify somebody who can deliver this nation to the promised land. When we talk about leadership in this situation, we need to appreciate that the current lot will not get leadership from the current lot. That is gone. So how do we forge forward in the movement? We need to come up with a way that we network within each other, and I thank you guys have provided a platform where we sit down, talk, discuss, and strategize. But moving forward, I think if we want proper leadership, we need to find ourselves something called a revolutionary council. If you look at and if you study all revolutions, modern revolutions, they've had something called a revolutionary council. These are not the people who take leadership, but these are experienced people, older generation, who share the same vision, ideology, and zeal with the current young generation, and who are ready to give them support, give them strategic advice, mobilize funds, and let the youth decide how they want to steer the nation, because it is their future. If you look at Iran, people don't talk about Iran, but when you look at Iran, Iran is a manufacturer. Iran has nuclear technology. When we put the Western propaganda aside, you realize that Iran had a revolutionary, but the revolution, the Iranian revolution, was propelled by the students. So when we look at our region in East Africa, I want to draw a few examples. And I give an example in Uganda. When the NRA came into power, those were young guys. When you look at people like General Salim Saleh, those were young kids. They committed themselves. The guy was barely out of high school when he went to the bush. When you look at people like Fred Rujema, those were young guys. His Excellency Museveni was the older guy in the lot. You get? So when you look at what is happening in Kenya, we need somebody who can stir the revolution by forming a close-knit revolutionary council. Na hawa watu wako, people who can guide the youth, watu kama kina omtata, people who are selfless, and others, I don't know so many, but you people can mention. When you look at, for example, the Green Revolution, Gaddafi, those were young kids. Those were leaders. When you go and look at the biblical analogy of David, when they came and said, there's a king from this house, asking his father said, Jesse, no, these are my sons. He paraded the older ones. They told him, no, there's the other younger one. He said, the one who's looking after sheep? Yes, that one. So leadership doesn't come with age, but leadership comes with God-given wisdom. And when you look around, there are those who've tried to masquerade as leaders, but time and God has exposed them. It only takes time. Anything, time will always give the answer. You just need to be a little bit patient, and then you'll get to see, this one is genuine, this one is genuine, this one is not genuine. So moving forward, I want to look at the youth and beseech you and beg you, let us identify the right persons. And I really like the idea of leaderless, because nobody could be compromised. And that time is when the people were fumbling, going after this one, going after that one, arresting this one, arresting that. They didn't know where to point. But the moment you bring a figurehead, everybody has a price. So when you ask me in this movement, who is your leader? And I'm sure most of you, who is your leader? I'm sure last month you were looking at somebody like so-and-so, that could be our leader. But today you are second guessing. You are not sure who your leader is. So your leader is your conscience. Leader is your conscience. At the juncture where we are right now, you remember when the doctors were so close with us, the Japrados, the what? Once their interests were taken care of, they forgot about the revolution. The other day now you hear them talking, oh, so-and-so has not been paid. They were promised Time has passed. They've not received anything. Now they want to come back and air their grievances. Of course, they need the people's support. So when we look at our movement, there's a thing I want us to analyze and appreciate. A revolution has stages. There is the stage where there are grievances and there is a spark, like what happened in Tunisia when the vendor set himself on fire because of harassment. That sparks it up, but the underlying issues which are now sparked. After spark, now the revolution gains momentum, like it happened in 26th, was it 26th? The great day, the memorable day. So when it happened, that cold morning when the youths marched towards the parliament, now the revolution has gained a life of its own. Then it reaches a time now, the revolutionaries, another stage, amongst themselves, they'll start conflicting because there will be moderates, there will be reactionaries, and there will be radicals. Now that's a very risky stage because it is what makes or breaks the revolution. And that is where we are. So we are finding people dancing from our camp, others are moving towards the oppressor, others are seen taking photo moments with the oppressors, others claiming, oh, so-and-so is a mole. So you can see that moderates, radicals, reactionaries, you understand? Because now
Yeah.
propaganda. Sorry, you want me to land?
In a minute.
In a minute, yeah. So when you get to that stage, it's a very critical stage, is where now the revolutionaries need to manage the revolution. And that's what the importance of having a revolutionary council. When you look at, when you study ideologies like communism, they have rules because it is about we, collectivism against individualism. So when an individual comes up and starts running his own agenda, and the rest of the commune doesn't accept there is an issue, they whip him back and remind him that it is the collective we, not the individual you. The moment this thing starts getting individualized, everybody pulling this side, that side, the revolution is watered down. So again, who is your leader? Ask your conscience. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I'll definitely ask my conscience on that, who my leader is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in from to Home Run DPP. It's always a pleasure to have you. Of course, today I want us to end it at 9 p.m. Nataka nikimbie kwenda mahali. Leo sitaki kupika ukweli hivi. Sina nguvu. Yeah. Bachelor to bachelor, cooking will make you marry. Yeah, but no, hata ukioa siku hizi bado tu, it's not like you're all working, so it does not even help. Bachelor to bachelor is very lonely. But anyway, let us get to read the comment section of today's speeches. Bachelor to bachelor sangapi? Nobody cares if you're a bachelor. Hey, nyewe mnataka kuoana juu ya njaa. You know, DK says the fact that I do not have anything to go to after the show. Now you guys have very active trolls, by the way. Anyway, earlier on somebody says that tunakuja kuongea kisungu mingi hapa kwa space. Today has been a very wild one. Wacha tuongee kisungu bwana. That is Mosi Tano saying. Having Miseda from Kileleshwa. Lakini having naye mpaka atuambie tu I'm from Kileleshwa. Having hata mimi natoka Rongai na sisemangi. I'm having from Kileleshwa. Enda kabisa. Sisi tuko na kwetu na tuseme. Anyway. Nimeambiwa sipiga watu viboko sana. Luca is saying Ruto is some steps ahead of us. Aguko anasema, and if William Ruto becomes the president of Kenya, we'll try to impeach his deputy president. If he questions the evil things he will be doing, Ruto is not a leader. Okay. Mosi, I think who else wrote to us? I've also seen it's here. Bill is not a political genius. We've seen this throughout this year. Buying opponents and killing dissent doesn't require any smart. You think so? You think? I don't know, but I feel like it needs some level of smart. Mositana anasema MC Peter was the way forward about Kizungu. Tuliambiwa tuache Kizungu. Tumeambiwa kwamba Kizungu si mzuri sana kwa space, that we talk a lot of English. Now let me just give you some context maybe before we end it. Tumeambiwa kwamba we talk a lot of English, and I'm going to ask Nixon to give me his thoughts on this. Tumeambiwa hapa na one of our listeners that we talk a lot of heavy English without an aim, without an end. We need to go out there and do the right thing and hit the streets. But I think people need also to speak, to vent or something, huh? Without an aim, without an end. We need to go out there and do the right thing and hit the streets. Thank you for that. But I think people need to comment. Bwana Musitado anasema Rusungu tutafanyaje kuhusu Rusungu? Rusungu. Musitano anasema is Stevenson suggesting that Ruto was weak with Gachagua? How when Gachagua was literally kissing the president's feet as if kama Ruto angetaka ku extend term limit, Gachagua could have opposed. That's a retrogressive view. Ruto was even more powerful. Stevenson suggesting that he also has a Raila now, and they are saying when Gachagua was literally kissing the president's feet as if kama Ruto angetaka ku extend term limit. Asanteni sana kwa kutusupport. Yesterday I did a 14-hour shift on Saturday. On Monday tulikuwa hapa kutoka 4 p.m. hadi tonight, that is about 8 hours. So leo tunataka but yes, I'd like to hear maybe a final submission from Ellis, because I saw you tried to request the microphone. And of course, if the speaker have something to say before we go to the mic, you can raise your hand so that we can give you the mic. So Ellis, if you can hear me, send you the mic, then I'll watch it again and fresh and talk to us. Yeah, try to request the microphone. And of course, if the speaker have something to say before we go to the mic, you can raise your hand so that we can give you the mic.
Anyway, pole. Na kusikizanga tu unajua kuna hiyo time difference kidogo. So when you guys are lapping up your day, we are actually getting started for the day. So kuna kitu, I think one of the, I'm sorry, I'm very bad with names. One of the speakers alisema leo ana match donations, ndio? Ama nilisikia vibaya?
Yes, alisema ana match donations.
Na sasa watu wametoa ngapi bana?
Nikikwambia unazalia bwana 1,000 bana.
Ai bana.
Ndio bana hata nimeshinda kusema.
Tukienda kwa hizi spaces zote, unajua hii Twitter, wasio tuko Twitter, tuko kwa X sasa. Tukienda kwa X, we don't even own Twitter. And this is one thing I tell people. And especially kama listeners wale wako hapa na hapa speakers wale wameongea hapa, we should be so grateful as Kenyans to go at such a media venye tunaweza ongea from different parts of the world and different groups with different ideologies, or we exchange ideas. Because nini? Pipi ni kuambia ukweli, na mliona jana, politicians are just a fake representation to us, kutufake ili tuonyeshe kama we own our own country, Kenya. These guys wamenunuliwa, those are puppets.
Kuna mtu ananipigia sasa. Sasa Pipi ni kuambia hivi, and this is what I want kila mtu tufanye umwaki yetu. Unajua, these owners of our land Kenya, one thing they want is to make us ignorant, very uninformed people. I'm sorry to talk in a kind of a vulgar language, lakini nitaona. Uliona huu governor wa Mombasa venye alituma vijana kwenda kudhurumu abroga because aliongea zake. Hiyo kitendo alifanyiwa, sitaki kutaja because I mean some things are very sensitive and it was a very bad act, lakini mlijua alidhurumiwa. These owners of this country, that's exactly what they are doing to us as Kenyans. Tuzania because you tulionea kijana akifanywa hivyo, sisi hatufanywi hivyo. Because saizi ukienda kwa hospitali saizi mnapata madawa. How many even Kenyans can afford these private clinics? Ukienda kujenga nyumba, ushakujiuliza hiyo mabati unanunua imejengwa na Mkenya? Hiyo cement, let me ask you people. Let's even not to go far. Hii saizi. Nani anajua jamaa anaitwa Nalevanda Laval? Who knows that? Nani anajua?
Huyo ni nani?
Laval. Unamjua? Sio unaona? Hata una Google. Hata una Google. Huyu jamaa Laval ni Muhindi. Vipi saizi hiyo cement ulitumia kujenga hiyo nyumba? Hiyo mabati umefunikwa nayo? Hiyo chuma umeka kwa grill ni yeye alifanya. Most likely yuko Kenya, yuko Congo, yuko Zaire. Unaona? Sasa jamaa mjanga kama huyo analipa 900 million. Fanya research yako. 900 million for the power anatumianga kwa mafactory zake. Huyo jamaa they spent billions and billions of Kenyan shilling robbing our parliamentary. Unaona Ruto anatoa pesa wapi? Na hizi wanaiba hizi za donations, hizi za loans. Huyo jamaa anaongeanga street sasa na akina Ruto. So ukisikia mtu kama Mudavadi anasema kwa 5 billion, how much do you think this guy is worth? Nani is your true sweat? Sasa wakati tuko hapa, even the media companies, hizi helicopter unaona machopa wana fly nazo, kwani hizi za nani? I'm just giving you one guy. These are the true owners of our country. Ndio sababu hivi media groups, some of them sio yeye lakini they own even what we listen to. My point I'm coming to, mtu kama hii space tumefungulia ya X na mtu kama Peter. Akifungua hii space anaambia bwana ni support. Hata mmoja wetu anajitolea anasema mazee hata double. Tukisema kumaanisha tukitoa leo 20,000, huyo jamaa ata 20,000. Target yetu ilikuwa 50k. Ili tuweze kuwa na space kama hii, Peter amefungua, tunakuja tuna exchange information. At least we become a better people of today than tomorrow. Ili at least our children have a chance. Because as we know, these politicians wote wako hapo, wote. Ndio sababu that's why they keep us in this being so dumb. Unakuta jamaa kabila yangu. Kashagwa was supposed to be impeached kitambo. But Kashagwa is no better than anybody else. Ruto should have gone the same place. Because ama jamaa unasikia they own my property, sijui Mombasa, sijui my beach nini, wana own this lakini that's a iceberg. That's nothing to the true comparison. Nimekwambia one of the owners of Kenya. Nao ni Kenya peke yake, yuko Uganda, ako Congo. Huyo ni jamaa saizi mapolisi akienda ambia mapolitician I want ABCD done, nataka a certain piece of land, I want interest rate ya Kenya if I know ABCD, and they do. They go there on a beg knees. Now, of course, now including people the IMF. I'm just giving you one of the guys. So ukienda kama these big media groups, and wameka Kenya in this perpetual thinking because wametuambia how we think, what we dress, what we eat. Because hebu kwenda saizi kwa these the big media groups in Kenya saizi wanaongea nini? Hakuna kitu ya maana ina support Mkenya. Sasa lakini watoto wetu, my brothers wetu wakienda university, nani sana analipa hiyo school fees. Saizi now even I've got, of course, just like any other Kenyans, to groups kusaidia ku contribute for these medical bills, na sana watoto wanaenda shule. So ni up to us, kila mtu amke in such that kulelewa. It is especially kuna speaker moja aliongea bisana, our representative, they are not our leaders. True leadership come from your own self, because unajua hakuna mtu wezani jindanganya, because you know yourself kabisa, wezi danganya shetani ama Mungu. Unajijua, and you have the tools how to improve yourself as an individual. Alafu tukikutana na pipi ameleta space kama hii, anasema mazebu tuongee status hii country yetu. Do you think it's normal ukakuta 201 MPs voting for a cause of one man? Of course tunajua nani was behind the impeachment ya ni vita zao. of the political class. This political class ndio wameuza the masses of us Kenyans. Kwa ukiangalia kama hizi companies za Naval, how many Kenyans wako huko? Ni Wahindi, the top management. Resources zetu za Kenya zina from between Kenya, UK na America. Zote zinatolewa Congo, zingine zinatolewa Uganda. But this guy, Naval, and concrete groups, akona mingi, company ni mingi. These are the true owners of Kenya. Through our politicians. So ndio nasema hivi, the solution ni nini? Solution ni kama, hakuna mambo ya Gen Z ni kundangani bana. Solution ni Gen Z zote. Gen zote, sisi zote, Gen wa Kenya. Every Kenyan citizen is feeling the pinch of what is going on to our country. Because our country has been long sold kitambo. It's going to be a long fight. By replacing kutoka MCA, moja anatolewa, mwingine anatolewa. Ukwa ni impeachment wameanza saa hizi 2 years ndio that constitution imeallow, even though these guys don't play by the laws of the book or constitution. Tunaanza hapo kwa impeach. Kwenda kwa MP yako, alivoti nini kwa finance bill? Because finance bill unajua nini? Ili draft to America. We know that. Hii loan ya JP Morgan, ya $2 billion wamelipa the other day, $2 billion. Na tunajua, hii pesa, hii inaitwa nini? Hii Eurobond. So wamelipa this June. Na tunajua kila, hiyo pesa nusu hata haikufika Kenya. Haikufika Kenya. Na ile fika Kenya, hakuna project moja it was tagged to. Unaona? So ndio nasema hivi. These owners of this land, ndio sababu unaona education system yetu iko hivyo. Wanataka kutuweka that ignorant perpetual, kudhania sisi hao politicians, our leaders, our saviors. They are not. They are just wafanyikazi. Ukitaka kujua hivi, when they get out of power, what do they become of themselves? Even with their family with enormous wealth. Look at, and I'm not getting into people's businesses. Mtu kama President Moi, amerid Kenya for how long? Aliwaka for 24 years. Ile at least family naweza sema wamejaribu kidogo, ni akina Kenyatta at least wako na Brookside, wako na makampuni tunana ina-employ. Kama Naval, this so-called Naval, this guy employs over 10,000 people. But this should be a Kenyan. Whereby, Mkenya anaongea na Mkenya mwingine, wanaanza hizi makampuni, Wakenya wananunua stocks, in these companies, value addition, hizo stocks zina grow. Maisha ya Wakenya inakuwa sawa, sio ya Wahindi. Sio nadhani sasa sisi tunapatiwa sasa kama sasa hiyo mabati umenunua. You know, ukiwa na kitu vingine stocks in that company. As it grows, you grow with it. That's what true nationalistic people wanafanya. Wana make sure who owns what. We will never be the same. There will be this Naval. There will be people at different levels. But until we are Kenyan, to remain Kenyan, kujipenda, to hold each other to account, kama venye Gachagua aliholdiwa to account, this to hold them to account basi. Isiwe kama ODM, they are so talking so much against the serikali ya Ruto nini. All of a sudden now they are dining with him. As I said earlier mapema, mtukala Raila says is a flower girl wa Ruto. Now ukiangalia mtukala, I'm not talking bad about him. I respect him mtukama, but because he's elder than me. Kama ODM, uliona bombers of Kenya. These young men wamekuja hapo kujiongea and women. And you could see Kenyan pouring themselves out. Lakini the MP, huyu DJ Kajwang, na huyu Beatrice Asijalang, whatever. They are MPs of Nairobi. They are sponsored goons. Goons. Kuja kuchapa mtu yote ataongea anything bad about your meeting yao supporting Ruto. Of course Gachagua shouldn't go, but sure as Ruto has to go. But you see the same people some night MP wangu because he's a Luo guy and he's bringing his goons to beat him to kama Morara. Ama kuyu kijana alikuwa anaongea hapa. Sasa kijana waliongea. It's there kwa mtandao. Na even after that alikuja akasema hii meeting kulikuwa na goons hapo sponsored by their own MPs. So hata vita isiwe sana hata pale juu sana kina Ruto. Hawa tuko nao ma MP hawa. MCA wao nao walivote yaji. Start from there. Then ukwa njeni zetu. Every Kenyan who is appropriate could replace. Akifanya the same bullshit, anakuwa kicked out, anakuwa impeached, mpaka at least we can make Kenya better for us. Lakini anyway, nimeongea sana, lakini mimi nasema hivi. Kusema ukweli, ukiangalia hii media zote, hakuna mtu amepatia opportunity kama mimi nimeongea na wengine wangu mmeongea mbele yangu. Mtu amejitokezea hapa kusupport people. Let's do the right thing. Tusingoje, tusione give this privilege to mtu kama Naval, anaenda anapatia Ruto billions of Kenya shilling, anakuja anapatia kile MP 5 million for their own cause. Lakini sisi wenyewe hata kupatia Peter 500 shillings, 1000 shillings, 200 shillings to promote a cause at us. Saizi I've learned a lot from this group. Ningesomea hii mambo wapi? To support Peter na mimi, si ati najiringa anything, niweke 1500 hapo, zimachiwe ziwe 10 na mwingine yake tufikishe yoka 50. Tuendelee Pipi. Good day.
Thank you so much. With that contribution from Ellis, sasa tuko katika 6,500. Ngoja sio hiyo, nilikuwa nataka niweke makofi. Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ellis Hill, of course, for being very supportive. Ellis Hill has been, I think, a listener for the past tangu tuanze. Alikuja hapa akakuja tukaendelea hivyo. So thank you so much, Ellis Hill, for supporting. Tulifukuza sponsor ndo najaribu ku reach out to him. Ebuliza, mbona unaingia kwa mic hivyo na fujo ndugu yangu? He has disappeared, but I've reached out to him, of course, and inform him on our stand. As of now, he has said he's going to help us to get to 50K. So he was going to match any amount that is going to be raised between now and the end of the show, up to 50,000. So right now we are about 6K. So I'll give him the number and see if he's going to match that amount. Hi, Western Shilau is here with us at the final minute of the show. I'm just going to give you 10 minutes. I have to go get food. Sinimwambia leo nataka kukula nje, sitaki kupika bwana. Sina uwezo. Western. 10 minutes and then we're out here. I know Piroso umetoka. Oh my God. Talk to me, Western.
Hi, Pepita. How are you?
I'm well.
Good. Pepita, I wanted to say something. Earlier, there is one of your speakers who said the British gave us rights and freedoms and the Constitution. Well, that takes us back to history, Pepita. The British, the foremost imperial